Hello everyone. Welcome to Mind Podcast Buddhism, the best channel for sharing knowledge about Buddhism. Today we will talk about the topic, Venerable Men too has fulfilled his vows. We will explore the enduring essence of Buddhism over the past 2,568 years and how its spiritual mission transcends worldly measures of gain and loss. Let's delve into the profound journey and contributions of Venerable Men too, shedding light on the true essence and challenges of practicing Buddhism in the modern world. Venerable Men too has successfully fulfilled his ascetic practice. The existence and preservation of Buddhism over the past 2,568 years do not adhere to the worldly conventions of loss and gain, because the essence of Buddhism's mission to relieve suffering cannot be measured by mundane units. How has Buddhism been lost? This is no longer a question, but rather a necessity for an answer. Buddhism is an ethereal symbol of a serene spiritual life. Therefore, the entanglement in a world that sees only materiality and form, bound by principles, means that even in grand monasteries with large statues, bustling with the fourfold assembly and lively ceremonies, the essence of Buddhism may be absent, like a turbulent sea where one cannot see the blue sky. Thus, what is gained in Buddhism may very well be lost in the worldly sense, and vice versa. After attaining enlightenment and returning to visit the royal palace and his father, the Buddha encountered his jealous and envious cousin. Seeing the Buddha walking barefoot, holding a begging bowl, and wearing a simple robe, Devadatta sneered and asked, "So, what did you gain after 6 years of asceticism?" "I lost more than I gained," the Buddha replied with a smile. "No wonder. That is a great failure," Devadatta exclaimed and laughed heartily. Unperturbed by the mockery, the Buddha gently explained, "I lost my desire for fame and fortune, my anger and hatred, my ignorance and attachment. I lost a lot but gained one thing, a mind and body at peace." In 520, Emperor Wu of Liang met Bodhidharma and asked, "Since ascending the throne, I have built many grand temples, printed scriptures, and supported tens of thousands of monks. Is my merit great?" Bodhidharma replied, "There is no merit." "Why is there no merit in supporting the Dharma and the Sangha on such a scale?" the emperor asked. "Because the deeds you have done are worldly and do not transcend the cycle of birth and death. They are mere illusions, not true merit." "What then is true merit?" the emperor asked. Bodhidharma explained, "A pure mind, empty and silent, is true merit. True merit cannot be measured by worldly achievements." Thus, many worldly gains turn out to be losses from the Buddhist perspective. After the struggle for religious freedom and equality in 1963, the Unified Buddhist Church of Vietnam was established. In 1981, the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha was founded under the direct control of the Government Committee for Religious Affairs, with the slogan, "Nation, Dharma, Socialism." The Buddhist community sternly questioned, "Can we replace the slogan independence, freedom, happiness with independence, freedom, liberation? And would the Religious Affairs Committee accept it?" A traditional Buddhism, bound to a political and social ideology of the ruling power, naturally sees its development redirected by political needs. For over 40 years, Vietnamese Buddhism has become a tool for the government in terms of leadership, organization, and activities. The role of Buddhism in the nation's history is intertwined with the fate of the country. When the nation is in turmoil, the Dharma declines. In prosperous times, there is a harmonious interaction between religion and the ruling power, as seen in the Lai and Tran dynasties. Buddhism then played a role in advising on ethics and providing spiritual strength to the rulers for the benefit of the people and the nation. King Tran Nhan Tong once donned the battle armor to fight invaders, and when peace was restored, returned to his monastic robe. Monks like Van Han, Quang Viet, and Tu Trong were eminent advisors supporting the rulers and governance. However, when a religion becomes a means to beautify the spiritual image of the political power, it loses its role and becomes merely a decorative tool for the rulers, with no significant contribution to governance. To lose something is to hold it in hand, but let it slip away. Buddhism slipped from the hands of the Religious Affairs Committee when the interaction between the two ceased to be a dialogue and became a directive. Internal activities of Buddhism, such as appointing abbots, conferring ecclesiastical ranks, and completing personnel for the Sangha, had to submit to decisions from the ruling power. How has the Religious Affairs Committee lost Buddhism? Buddhism has been reduced to a mass organization within the Vietnam Fatherland Front. Buddhist clergy are appointed like state officials. Ecclesiastical authority is controlled by the state, reduced to ceremonial and beneficiary roles. Buddhist precepts and applications are enforced or controlled by secular law. The content of teaching, protecting, and choosing the Dharma is directed by the state. Monks and lay Buddhists are transformed into a dependent, nameless mass. In such a situation, although Buddhism still exists and even flourishes superficially, it is just a formality. Hence, the monastic community is increasingly chaotic. True monks and wise teachers withdraw into silence, while Buddhist temples become increasingly noisy, like a raging epidemic. The wise shake their heads in dismay while the ignorant exult. The monastic gate is wide open, but it is not a tranquil monastery with a solemn triple gem. Instead, the triple gem is troubled, and the people's minds are chaotic. When Buddhism is lost, Buddhist affairs become corrupted, vague, and chaotic with unlawful, ignorant, and self-destructive phenomena. When Buddhism is lost, the monastery becomes impure, true monks retreat, and devils in monastic robes rise with deceitful sermons, vulgar words, careless content, and malicious leaders. When Buddhism is lost, the three jewels are reduced to one. The Buddha jewel remains intact, while the Sangha jewel declines, and the Dharma jewel wavers. When Buddhism is lost, internal strife arises. Monks become businessmen. Lay Buddhists become sacrificial offerings for demonic services like fake Buddha relics, ghost summoning rituals, karmic creditor prayers, and rampant superstitions witnessed by all. Min 2's case, complete emptiness. The word emptiness in Buddhism is translated by Western scholars in various ways, each with a different meaning. Nothingness, emptiness, nihility, voidness. I choose the last concept when looking at a check I wrote, specifying the amount and the payee. But when I want to cancel all having into not having, I write the bold word void on it. The check is physically there, but it is completely empty, bearing no real value. This concept indicates that all phenomena have no inherent nature and do not exist independently. Everything is interdependent and exists only through conditions. A case study, explained simply, involves words, actions, movements, and events whose meaning cannot be understood or found clearly by conventional knowledge, senses, or reasoning, but can only be comprehended or realized through intuition. In recent days, the phenomenon of Min 2 has made me ponder. Despite the crystal-clear events surrounding this figure, as obvious as daylight and as familiar as one's breath, many, including myself, still cannot understand why it is so. Millions of eyes, hearts, and perceptions have focused on Venerable Min 2, all seeing clearly that this person is not extraordinary. Basic Buddhist knowledge, no titles to praise, not yet ordained, never resided in temples, not uttering a single wise Buddhist teaching, not engaging in daily rituals, no signs of the usual restraints of a traditional monk. Yet, Venerable Min 2 possesses an invisible halo that surrounds and emanates to everyone. No attachment to self, fame and fortune are void, anger and desire are relinquished, lust is far removed, eating and sleeping just enough to sustain life, indifferent to illness and death, never touching money or material wealth, finding peace in ascetic wandering. The ordinary existence of Venerable Min 2 subtly embodies the serene emptiness of Buddhism. Observing Venerable Min 2 closely, I initially saw it as a reason, a drop that overflows a nearly full cup. The substance in the cup symbolizes Vietnamese Buddhism, with all its forms, content, and activities of temples, monks, and the laity. I wrote a small essay titled Venerable Min 2, The Overflowing Drop, expressing my impressions of Vietnamese Buddhism based on my direct and indirect observations. Following Venerable Min 2's footsteps and the public's reactions in the country and worldwide, people constantly wondered, what attraction and miracle have enveloped a simple, honest, almost unknown figure in just a few weeks, suddenly becoming an extraordinary phenomenon stirring the whole nation? Examining a few pages of history about similar public movements with strong appeal, such as the Tank Man, the anonymous young man who stood alone in front of 59 advancing tanks at Tiananmen Square on June 5, 1989, demanding freedom and the right to live in China. In a moment captured by Jeff Wedner of AP, the Tank Man became an eternal symbol of the people's courage and the brutality of oppression. The image of the black woman who refused to give up her seat for a white man on a racially segregated bus in Montgomery in 1955 sparked the anti-racism movement in the United States and worldwide. And many other weak, anonymous individuals rose like a light, like lightning, like an overflowing drop, like a bell ringing to awaken public movements, either temporary or long-lasting, local or widespread, demanding correction of errors, revitalizing in times of decline, and punishing crimes. Those who inadvertently or intentionally act as starters, whether briefly or enduringly, creating positive effects or good influences on the public, will forever become symbols illuminating darkness with light. This morning, June 3rd, 2024, it was reported that Venerable Minh II has voluntarily ended his ascetic pilgrimage. It seems that everyone I have met or contacted through the media will not be surprised if any incident occurs to Venerable Minh II, even sudden death by any means. The most important thing, Venerable Minh II has completed his mission, condensing 6 years of asceticism into a few weeks, using his own body to illustrate the image and virtue of a true Buddhist monk. This is it. Buddhists and the public across the country and worldwide now have at least an idea of the supreme image and quality of a genuine Buddhist monk. Certainly not the farcical displays in this degenerate age, where monks, misters, and nuns, ladies, exploit a profoundly wonderful Buddhism into fundraising theaters or business environments, profiting from the gullibility of lay Buddhists. I hope and pray that we practice according to the middle path of Buddhism, neither excessive nor deficient. Those who are greedy, please curb your greed. Those who practice asceticism, please gradually ease your austerity. Thank you, Venerable Minh II, for bringing the pure practice of a Buddhist monk to help enlighten and remind those in the fourfold assembly of Buddhists who have intentionally or unintentionally strayed from the right path. May Venerable Minh II, in any circumstance, achieve complete enlightenment. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who might benefit from it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, follow, and turn on the notification bell. This is how you can show your support for me. Once again, thank you very much, and see you in the next videos.